All right, and welcome to this year. Actually, well, let me just start off and say this. Happy New Year's, everyone. Hopefully, 2023 comes off as an amazing year, but we've always said this. Anyway, this is actually the season one finale of It's All About the Media podcast, but I'll probably be back in March. But yeah, I know I took a big old break and then things have been happening here and there. You're getting episodes like weeks, months at a time. And I know I promised in the past try to do it every week, but I've just been a busy guy. But shout out to my editor. He's been helping me out for the last couple of episodes. So thank you, brother. Anyway, I'm just going to give you a big recap of everything that's happened in 2022. Let's just start off with the obvious. Yes, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in the face at the Oscars back in May. No, not May, March, I believe. Yeah. I recorded about this, but I've never released it because at the time I didn't really have enough information. Now that more information has been piling up since then, I can just say that to this day, I still 100% do not know if it's staged or not. And even if it is, I wouldn't expect anyone to go as far as to like, oh, okay, we're gonna do big scene at the Oscars, which is get slapped in the face, all right? But of course, the incident, look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, because I don't take one or the other side. I'm a middle ground person. I just try to find common ground between both sides of an argument. So, of course, 95% of this argument, people will side with Chris Rock. Well, 5%, maybe 10% can side with Will Smith. The thing is that, like, both got out of hand just because, like, if you know, like, the story, of course, Jada Pinkett Smith, has alopecia. Chris Rock made a joke about her not having hair, even though supposedly he didn't know she had alopecia. For those who don't know, alopecia is a disease where your immune system fights you back so much that you will have lots and lots of hair loss. So that's pretty much what alopecia is. Anyway, Chris Rock made a joke about her bald head. Will Smith laughed. She didn't. And then moments later, he went on stage. Will Smith went on stage, like Chris Rock, sweared at him, and then about an hour later, he won the Oscar for Best Actor, which is, again, that was like a pretty controversial thing at the time. And ever since then, people were trying to figure out, like, still what's been going on. Will Smith has talked about it. Chris Rock, not so much. Both have rights to either speak out or not speak out on it. Okay, we're all human. That's pretty much it. We're going to do stupid stuff. Nobody's perfect. And anyway, nobody is perfect. All right? Like, again, I'm the middle ground guy. I'll find middle ground. I don't choose one side of the argument. Both people can be right or both people can be wrong. But I choose not to take sides on any argument because that's just who I am. It's going to be difficult for one or the other to try to move on, mainly. Maybe Will Smith. I don't know. I mean, like, the next day he tried to, like, put a issue apology on Instagram, but it wasn't until the summer where he actually gave like a full video of what really happened. And since then, everyone's been hating on, Jada Pinkett Smith because people feel like she's more of like taking over the relationship. It's more like a toxic, unhealthy relationship. I stay away from all of this personally. I do. It's not something that I would like, I just don't dig into it. But I mean, Will Smith, he has his Oscar. That's just pretty much what there is. But he's been banned from the Academy for 10 years. So whatever happens for the next 10 years, I mean, to me, I highly doubt Will Smith will do something Oscar worthy for the next 10 years. He's just not allowed to present or vote. That's the other thing. He was a member of the Academy. He's no longer allowed to present or vote. So he cannot present the Best Actress Award next year. And Will Smith also like submitted his resignation even before everything went out of hand. But Chris Rock, on the other hand, hardly talks about it. That's his choice. I'm not going to judge him onto it. But we just got to move on from this, y'all. I mean, both, like I said, we're all human. We're going to do something stupid. We're going to say something stupid. Both did it. We could just move on from this, all right? Speaking of toxic relationships, I cannot believe people actually kept up with the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trials. I cannot believe that people actually you kept up with this. Okay, I don't know the full story, to be honest with you guys. And I personally didn't care. But when I saw what was happening, I was like, wow, man, Will Smith and Johnny Depp are not going to have good careers after this. But apparently, once you dig deeper into what was happening, apparently Amber Heard was, you know, Johnny Depp was actually the real victim in this whole relationship. And I don't know where the hell Amber Heard got her lawyer from. Or it looked like she got her lawyer from the same bus that he advertises that he was also waiting for the bus. He was waiting for a bus that he was advertising on. Oh my gosh. She didn't have a good lawyer. Johnny Depp is Johnny Depp. He's gonna have a whole army of lawyers just like OJ. Yeah, she just wasn't making her claims. She wasn't making any good claims about the relationship. Johnny Depp has so many good claims, all right? Amber Heard shat on the bed. She threw a piece of glass, severing a tip of his finger. Yeah. She tried to use the whole I'm a woman argument. Apparently that's not going to work anymore. And I'm not going to just try to say it's best what I'm about to say I shouldn't say, just to be clear. But in the end, Johnny Depp won. But however, he's still owing Amber Heard money. I side with I know I said I'm on the middle ground here, but on this particular case, I side with Johnny Depp. The man can be the victim. Nobody just chooses to see it that way. I'm not trying to piss on women or anything here, but it can happen. Women aren't the only ones that can be a victim of, a domestic relationship. No domestic violence in relationships. It can happen to men too. It's just, again, people think women are the most vulnerable one, and she chose to use that route, and apparently it didn't work. So, yeah, I don't think she has a career anymore either. A lot of people are doing stupid stuff. Apparently, Cuba Gooding Jr. did something idiotic. I don't remember what it was. Ezra Miller did kidnap the child. What the hell's going on with the world right now? And then, the Russia-Ukraine thing. Just a lot of things are happening, That's pretty much all I got for the first segment. I want to talk about sports. Really two big sports things. One big sports event, Super Bowl. Everyone loves the Super Bowl. Even if you don't watch football, you'll just watch it for the commercials. I don't remember too much about the commercials because this was in February. This by now was 10 months ago, I believe. Yeah. Almost maybe 13 months ago, close to a year. Wait, I think my math is off on that one. Anyway, close to the end of the year. This was towards the beginning of the year. I only remember the Liquid Death commercial where it looked like a bunch of kids were drinking alcohol. But no, they're just drinking Liquid Death water. I do remember the Sopranos, it was, a Subaru commercial? Some type of car commercial. And it's the two actors who played Tony Soprano's kids. And, they played the epic, opening thing, woke up this morning, bought yourself a gun. That's if you've ever seen The Sopranos, which was a really good show, even though I didn't get a chance to finish it for certain reasons. But, yeah, it's been so long ago, I don't even think I remember it. Yeah, it was the Los Angeles Rams. Was I going for the Bengals? I think I was probably going for the Bengals. Either way, halftime show, I wouldn't say it was the best halftime show, but I will tell you, I liked it a little bit more than what we've got in the past many years. Who do we have before this halftime show? We had The Weeknd, Lady Gaga, Coldplay, Bruno Mars. I remember Bruno Mars. I remember Katy Perry. We've had not so good performers, I would say. I mean, maybe Bruno Mars, but that was just because he had the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I really love that band. But the performers this year were, people who would have performed back in the early 2000s Super Bowl, because this was Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem. They had Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige. 50 Cent supposedly made a surprise. I thought he was on the roster. I literally thought I saw his name on the roster before, the Super Bowl came out. But either way, it did look like a big screen. It looked like they were performing in front of a green screen. I know I'm not the only one who thought that. 50 looked like he was struggling because he was rapping upside down. But from what I've been told, a lot of the time it's lip sync. Who's performing next year? I think it was Rihanna, I believe. I seriously thought they would have done something like put a K-pop group in there because that's pretty much what's dominating a lot of the music. But I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of what they've been putting on the halftime show. I feel like they need to get better artists. To me, they're getting like, now I don't know how this year's halftime performers felt about football, but I can guarantee you, the past performers don't give a damn about football. They just want to perform. They need some good performers. You know who they need to get? Metallica. I love Metallica. They should have performed in their prime years, but it's never happened. And I don't want to say it's never going to happen. I want to give hope to say Metallica's going to perform at their Super Bowl halftime show. But you also got to remember, their songs are pretty long. And it's by popularity, which is a BS there. But I don't know. I would love to see Metallica perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. I'm hoping it happens. I just want it to happen. But on to another sport. Argentina, they beat France in the FIFA World Cup. And Lionel Messi and Mbappe, man, those two can really play soccer. If you're going to ask me, is it soccer or is it football? Just as what Manning and Beckham were arguing. Here in America, because I live in America, it's soccer. Anywhere else you could call it football. I cannot guarantee you a lot of other people in England would say it's soccer because I don't live in England, so I don't have the argument there. Here in America, it's soccer. Anywhere else you could call it football. But yeah, it was an intense game. It kept getting tied. It wasn't until the penalty kicks where you're just like, okay, who's going to win this? Look, I was cheering on for Messi nearly the entire time. But as the game was progressing, I was switching to Mbappe. Deep down inside, because outside I was still saying Messi. But Mbappe, man, that guy is young, 23, and set a lot of good football. I'm going to say football for his term. Football records. Man, that guy can play. I'll definitely be cheering on for him the next FIFA World Cup, because the next FIFA World Cup will be in the United States, including Canada and Mexico. But luckily, Houston and Dallas will be hosting a couple of the games. So, hopefully I could get tickets. I don't care who's going to play. Like, if somehow France is playing in either Houston or Dallas, I'm definitely getting a ticket. I got to see Mbappe play in real life, Oh, man. All right, welcome back to Gilbert. It's all about the media podcast, season 1 finale. I want to get into the superhero stuff that came out this year. And first of all, I didn't get a chance to watch The Boys season 3 this year. I know, shocker. I love that show. I just never had a chance to. Plus, I canceled my Prime membership. So hopefully I'll get to rewatch and maybe talk about it next year. Though that doesn't seem, like, why would I talk about something I saw previous year and just to talk about it this year? I don't know. Maybe I'll just do what I missed last year or the previous year episode, which more likely will happen because there's a lot of superhero stuff I haven't actually seen this year. I haven't even seen Werewolf by Night or the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. And I have started watching She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, and by both sides, I am not impressed by them. I mean, Miss Marvel is a little bit more entertaining than She-Hulk. Disney, if you know, like, Disney has been a little bit liberal. They've been liberal God knows how long. They want to get on the people's side on everything. Disney, you don't have to, but you choose to because you're doing a bait, You're just baiting people when you truly don't care about what the people think. So, and that's why your shows aren't doing so good. I don't like the shows that like I said, Miss Marvel isn't really that bad. It's just She-Hulk. I nearly didn't really want to watch it just because of the scene that's been blown up with her and Meg Thee Stallion. Yeah, I just didn't really like I might finish him off and then I could eventually talk about them further. But just so far, I am not impressed. Not at all. The one superhero show I am impressed by, and I don't think they were in truly enforcing Middle Eastern culture onto the show. It's just that's how it's actually been since it started. But Moon Knight, the show Moon Knight, I actually like. I love that it's a little bit dark and gritty, and you have this character who has, man, what was it called? Where you have multiple personality disorder. I love what they do with this character, there's the grittiness, and then there's a little bit of comedy from one of the characters or one of the personalities, portrayed by Oscar Isaac, who does it so well. Oscar Isaac is that one actor where you'll just see him in pretty much everything, like Sam Jackson and The Rock. You'll see him in a lot of stuff. So I like Oscar Isaac. He's a really cool actor. Do I feel like they might have enforced a Middle Eastern superhero? Because there was a scene where I think her name was Layla. The character Layla gets superpowers, and this little girl says, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she says, "Yes." Yes, that felt a little bit enforced. That felt a little bit forced, but I got over it, or it just didn't bug me that much, So I was okay with that part. I kind of wish there was a movie about it. Like, I kind of do wish, like, it could have been a movie. I wonder what they're gonna do with the character, because there's three personalities. It's Mark Shepard. I'm trying to remember the other one. Jake Lockley, I think, is the third personality. So give me a second. Moon Knight, right? Well, that doesn't help. Steve Grant, all right. Mark Spector. Okay, I read it as Steve Grant. Yeah, the show, I like that show, and I can't wait to see more. But yeah, another good show that came out this year, and I briefly mentioned it when I talked about my Superman episode, was Peacekeeper. Yeah, I almost said Peacemaker. Peacekeeper, man, that show is like, this is why I like The Boys and I like Peacekeeper, and I'll admit I even like Titans and Doom Patrol. I think Titans came out this year. I haven't kept up with it. Again, I don't have HBO Max anymore. Damn. I just realized I might not be able to watch the rest of Peacekeeper because I don't have HBO Max. Because I watched it before I watched Peacekeeper before I lost HBO Max. But Peacekeeper it was an awesome show. Was it weird and quirky and look childish? Yes, but you know what? That's James Gunn. By now, you should know how James Gunn is. Okay, I'm not handling what he's doing with those Warner Brothers right now, and I'm gonna get to it. But dude, you can't expect, seriousness from James Gunn from start to finish. There's gonna be a lot of quirkiness, a lot of weird comedy. The vigilante, that's literally what he's called in the show, as well as in the comics. The vigilante character, dude, I've never seen that version before, because actually that version came out in Arrow, but I don't really want to get into the details, but like Vigilante and Adrian Chase are the same characters in the comics as well as Peacekeeper, but Adrian Chase was a different character, but the Vigilante persona belonged to somebody else in Arrow. But dude, just to see that, man, that was actually really cool. John Cena, man. I don't watch pro wrestling, and when I've had seen pro wrestling, I don't think I've ever seen a fight with John Cena. Like, I've seen The Big Show, I've seen Batista, Mysterio, Wyatt, who retired, The Undertaker. I've seen those. I've just never seen, I don't think I've ever seen anything with John Cena. But man, I love John Cena as that role. I think he fits perfectly. I know there's supposed to be a second season. I can't wait for that. And even though James Gunn is like, it's weird, like he's redoing the entire DC universe, he's still keeping Peacemaker. Again, I don't know what they're going with that, but I already gave my thoughts on The Batman. Love that movie. Still love it to death. I can't wait for the sequel. Moving on. Let's be honest. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't love what Marvel put out this year. As I mentioned earlier with Miss Marvel, as well as with She-Hulk. Doctor Strange and Thor Love and Thunder, I believe, were the weakest. Not the weakest, but they were two of the weakest movies that Marvel has ever put out. I don't have a list of what could be the weakest Marvel movies, but so far as I can tell you, Thor Love and Thunder and the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I believe, are the weakest. First of all, I'm going to talk about another movie that delved into the multiverse. later on. But Doctor Strange didn't do its title justice because you're really only seeing like three different universes, maybe briefly like eight, but there wasn't a lot. You just hop from one universe to the next without a little bit of exploration. Sam Raimi, I love Sam Raimi. He directed the Spider-Man movies, he directed the Evil Dead series. I expected better from Sam Raimi, to be honest with you. I just didn't dig. I mean, yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange is really cool. What was it? America Chavez? I didn't get into. I didn't really feel it. Wong, love Wong. I think he's the most underrated and unappreciated Marvel hero known to man. And a lot of people can agree with me on this one. Scarlet Witch as the villain? Man, I again didn't feel that. Didn't. The plot didn't make sense. She just wanted to go to a universe was to see her kids, including, even though that universe already has, Wanda Maximoff. She could have gone to another universe where they don't have a mother. You know what I mean? And I hate the fact that they wrote out, I guess a little bit of a redeeming arc from WandaVision. If you haven't seen WandaVision, brief summary, she traps the whole town and she later apologizes for it and regrets it. Again, I just didn't like it. I mean, I don't know. I love the horror aspects of it because that is what Sam Raimi is very known for, is horror. So that's pretty much what I liked about it. Performances were good, just mainly from both Benedict, because it's Benedict Cumberbatch as well as Benedict Wong. Yeah, that's about pretty much it. Thor Love and Thunder, again, thought it was pretty weak. Didn't love what Thor was doing. I get what they're trying to do with the lady. So, it was too woke, I have problems with woke culture. I hate woke culture. These are just people that take the First Amendment way too seriously. Well, I mean, really anybody takes the First Amendment way too seriously. But yeah, man, I was so excited that Christian Bale was going to be there and that he was going to play Gore the God Butcher. And I didn't know about the character until they announced, oh, it's Gore the God Butcher. You looked into who Gore the God Butcher is, and it's a totally awesome villain. But just the way they handle that character. I mean, he only kills one god on screen. He's killed other gods, but they're off screen. You only see him kill one god on screen, and that was when that was his first kill. All right. It was all really because his daughter died and he gave up on the gods because they didn't keep his promise, whatever. And then, the whole thing with Zeus, omnipotent city, could have been a perfect time for Gore to show up and slaughter all these pagan gods. But no, it was just really so Thor can get Zeus's thunder. And that scene was really just so they can set up for Thor 5. And I think it's kind of funny because Taika Waititi uses the kid actors that Taika uses are pretty much almost the entire cast as parents. I mean, the entire cast is kids. So Taika's, Chris's, who else? Natalie's, and as well as Christian's. They use their kids because he called it free labor, But I mean, yeah, I just didn't enjoy the movies. They were the weakest. Wakanda Forever, I actually do like that one. I do like Wakanda Forever. Did it take itself too seriously with politics? Oh, most definitely, yes. I'm going to be honest with you guys because this is something that really pushes my buttons. It pisses me off, actually. Politics is politics. Movies is movies. Please stop putting both together, okay? I hate that you got to put your political agenda into a film, all right? And I don't know if that was entirely what they were doing, but, oh, man. So this is what I hate. Before the movie came out, there were some black woke liberals, and I'm not hating or crapping on any black people. I got a lot of black people that I love, and they're very close to my heart. But they're not woke, and they're not liberals. That's the problem. These woke liberal black women were saying, if you're white and you want to see Wakanda Forever and you side with black folks, do not watch that movie. That's what they're saying. If you're white, you cannot watch Wakanda Forever. And they're saying, if you already have tickets, give it to a black person in need, give it to a family in need, yada, yada, yada. And she says, you don't have to... And they're saying, they're not saying you can't watch it forever. You can't watch it the opening weekend or whatever. It's just stupid, okay? This whole woke thing is just getting way too far. And the fact that they're using Wakanda Forever is a disrespect to Chadwick Boseman. All right. That's what I feel like they're doing. And it's not just woke, even conservatives are like going at it with this film. I'm like, dude, I just want to make a rule that if you're a political person, you don't get to watch a movie. All right? Like, can people just sit down, watch a freaking movie, and leave their politics aside? That I'm not a political person. That's why I'm able to watch a movie. Like, let's go back to Candyman. And I know some people are going to hate me for this, but I don't care. I love both Candymans. I love the original with Tony Tep, the original 1992, I believe. And then, the recent one that came out in 2021. I get there was a political agenda there, but I choose not to see it. But it was pushing their political agenda a little bit too much, and I didn't like that. Like I said, politics, movies are movies. Yes, do I want to make movies? Yes, do I want to make them political? I would say more like The Hunt. I like The Hunt. It's a very good movie, kind of like that. But everything else, no. All right, I keep my politics to myself, and I feel like people should do that too. And when you're enforcing your politics onto movies, I feel like you should even make a movie. All right, people forgot the art of making film. That's just what drives me insane. But I mean, I know I'm supposed to be talking about the superhero segment, but that's just how I feel. But I liked Wakanda Forever. It was pretty long, but I'll get to another long movie later on tonight. But I like Wakanda Forever. I like that, they switched to a different hero. Well, they kind of had to because of, the sad and sudden passing of Chadwick Boseman. I'm glad they didn't recast Boseman. I'm glad, they should focus on the people of Wakanda as well as Shuri, the sister, of Black Panther. I didn't really like Namor or the whole Talakan thing. Like, I get what you're trying to do. Disney, I'm going to piss more people off. If you're falling for the whole, Disney are representing the whole Mayan culture, Mexican culture, I'm sorry, but you need a brain check on that one, all right? I wasn't buying it one bit. I didn't care that Namor was Mexican. I respect Mayan culture, but I don't feel like Disney was respecting the Mayan culture. That's what I feel like. All right, and Tenoch Huerta, who played Namor, said, we're not portrayed as villains. That doesn't make any sense. You're pretty much seen as a villain. You literally want to kill a girl because she invented a tech that can spot your vibranium. I understand what Namor's motives are, but they're just not being presented in a way that I can side with Namor either, And I thought Atuma, I'm getting into spoilers, I'm sorry guys, but I thought Atuma was the main villain because Atuma is actually Namor's main nemesis, but in the movie, he's actually like his ally or something. But they never really said if he truly dies in the movie, but whatever. I mean, I don't know. If they're going to give Namor an arc, you better justify it because I didn't like how they handled it. Tenoch Huerta was actually okay as Namor or Namor, because it's stupid how he got the name Namor, because he was originally called Kulkulkan, which is a sky god, a Mayan pagan god. But he called Namor because he's known as the child with no love. So they put no amor, no love. They put it together and put it as Namor. It's Namor, you idiot. Namor. Again, I like the movie. I just don't like the political ideology of it. But will I move on from it? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I feel like if I watch it again, I could either ignore it. I could feel a little bit infuriated as I am now. But, I mean, it can eventually go down. But, I mean, that's just how I am. Last one on the list is Black Adam. Cheesy? Yeah. Was it good? Not really. Was Dwayne Johnson awesome? Oh, he's always awesome. That's kind of like why I wanted to see it. It's because of Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, like I said, he's pretty much in everything. But you could tell like they're just trying to rush this thing because Dwayne's been cast as Black Adam, I believe, since 2014. So they've been trying to get to this movie for a long, long time. But in the end, it didn't have a good result. Are they going to connect it with Shazam now, or is because of like what James Gunn is doing with DC that they're like, okay, we're going to have to move on, which kind of sucks because I wanted to see Shazam and Black Adam. And, we got Superman at the end, And then James Gunn is like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. So, man, I feel bad for Henry Cavill. I mean, he was gonna come back as Superman, you know? We're gonna give him another shot, but that shot over. And apparently Gal Gadot might no longer play Wonder Woman. Is it for the best though? I believe so, but I believe in second chances. I believe we all could have given this universe a second chance. Hell, we actually give them many chances. What's going to happen with Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn? I don't think there's anything that I've read upon. I'm pretty sure something has. That's pretty much all I got on the superhero stuff. I don't know if I missed anything or not. But like I said, if I ever finish She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and if I ever actually get around to watching The Boys, I know I'm probably going to get around to watching The Boys. Hopefully, I could actually get to Werewolf by Night. So we'll see what happens. All right. All right. Welcome back to Gilbert's All About the Media podcast. Now we can actually go to probably horror stuff. Some horror came out this year. I didn't get to see a lot of it. Ones I didn't get to see are Black Phone, Barbarian, Men. I'm trying to think of others. There have been a couple of other horror films. I'm going to see The Black Phone. This girl tells me it sucks. I don't believe her. And if I watch it and it doesn't suck, I'm going to call her out. And she knows who she is. And, oh, yeah, we're definitely... But, yeah, we already talked about Halloween, the Halloween Ends film. We talked about Halloween Ends on the podcast. We already gave you our thoughts on it. The movie disappointed me. They could have done better, but, hell, it is what it is, and we just got to move on. If I ever get into, like, any of the horror stuff I missed last year, I am going to incorporate to maybe what I missed next year and I could finally cover. But other horror films that I did see, Nope was a good one by Jordan Peele. Again, another thing people of the conservative side are trying to force their whole like political whatever. It's a movie. Get a life. All right, that's pretty much what I'm gonna say. I like Nope. Was it truly horror? Probably not. Maybe like I don't know. I would say maybe 75% horror. The next is more like Western adventure. But there was a scene that scared me to the core. And if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen the movie, it's your fault. But there's a scene where like 40-something people got sucked into the alien, and it's very claustrophobic. Like it's very claustrophobic. It just made me like, it made me like squirmy on the inside. But that was actually a pretty good technique to make me get scared of, I don't know, getting swallowed by something and having like a little breathing room. But it is definitely, I think, as far as I can tell you so far, if I was to rank Jordan Peele's films, even though, yeah, there's only 3 of them, it's still Nope, Us, and Get Out. Get Out is still the superior. Man, Jordan, you're going to have to really step it up. I love Nope, but you're really going to have to step it up. I also love the fact that Nope, it gives you references of Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 2 of Steven Spielberg's greatest films. Man, really Nope to me was just Alien Jaws or Space Jaws or, yeah, I think Alien Jaws. I think that's what I would call it. But yeah, Keke Palmer, love her. Daniel Kaluuya, the guy never disappoints me. You forget, of course, he's British. He's a British actor. You know, when you see him in American films, you're like, you forget, you know, he's British or English, whatever the political correct term is. You know, he's from the UK. He's not American, but you buy it because that's how good of an actor he is. Stephen Young? Yeah, Stephen Young. Love him. To see him as a kind of a bad guy-ish person, per se, maybe didn't love that part, but I guess there was, like, the idea of, you know, somebody who takes tragedy for business, per se, which, you know, is true. And I guess the reason being is because, like, Jordan Peele always has, like, black people as his main stars, and they're always the ones that are surviving, and it's, like, white people or non-black people. Well, I mean, there was a Mexican that survived this film, but, like, I get it, but, I mean, if it was in the hands of a different director, how do you think they were really put into it? You got to understand it from there. But, I don't know. I don't think, like, there's a real political ideology within his films. Doesn't really bother me. This is the only thing where I don't see a political ideology. There probably is one. I just choose not to see it. That's just me, all right? because again, people should stop mixing their politics with film. Anyway, so I love Nope, highly recommendable. If you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? It's an amazing film. If you don't like it, again, something's wrong with you. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else I saw that is horror film because there was Nope. God damn, I swore I saw there are more horror films that came out this year. Nope cannot be the only horror film that came out that I saw that came out this year. X, that's the one I'm thinking. Okay, first of all, do not judge me, all right? If I talk about X. Oh, you know what? Now that I'm talking about X, Pearl is one I haven't seen. But anyway, Pearl and Smile. God damn, I really didn't see a lot of horror films this year. Man, so far it's just Men, Barbarian. Don't Worry, Darling, I haven't seen, but looks like I'm never gonna see it. The Menu, Scream. Don't get mad at me because I didn't see Scream, all right? But man, there's a lot of them I get to see this year. Prey. Jeez, what did I miss out on? Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to do what I missed of the previous year because that is, man, I hate that. All right. And like I said, if the Black Phone turns out to be true, I'm calling out the girl that said it sucked. Hellraiser. I don't even think I was ever gonna watch that, to be honest with you. But I will talk about X. And again, I'm sorry. All right. I know what the movie's about. And the reason why I'm saying this is because people who know me are gonna be like, well, Gino, yeah, whatever, okay. This was March, all right, and I still had some issues with myself, but checking if I was on. Anyway, X, it's a slasher film made by A24, who does better movies than Hollywood does right now, and I mean better movies. You gotta believe me on this one. Basically about the adult film industry. Again, Cochino, I know, shut up, all right. I thought it was an interesting movie. But anyway, you know what? No, nobody's gonna support my claim. I'm not gonna support my claim here, alright? And in my spiritual aspect, yeah, I probably should not have watched that movie, but in a filmmaking aspect, you gotta understand. Alright. Plus, I kind of had a deranged mind at the time. But X tells the story of a bunch of young adults who rented a farmhouse because they are gonna do an adult film, and the older couple eventually just starts killing off all of them. Because the theme of this movie is more about once you get old, who knows where you're gonna be, how your sex life is gonna be. Yeah, again, sorry if this makes people weird out, but that's just what the movie is. And apparently, this old lady gets off by killing people, but it's interesting because the old lady, as well as the main actress, is played by Mia. Both are played by Mia Goth. Jenna Ortega is also in this film. I'm trying to think who else. Brittany Snow, Kid Cudi. I forgot one of the actors' name. Actually, I don't feel like looking it up right now. And, well, two of the actors' name, really. But it is... And it's not like you just see a bunch of people and they're like, yeah, they're all going to die, which is true. But you don't really want them to die either, I guess, per se. It's created artly. It has good creativity, has good suspense, no jump scares. There was a scene where I thought there was going to be a jump scare, but no, there wasn't a jump scare, so it did well on that part. But yeah, there is a prequel that came out like the same year called Pearl, which was about the old lady. Again, Mia Goth's character. Haven't seen it. Maybe I'll talk about it. Like I said, man, I missed a lot of good horror films that came out this year. Wasn't there one movie about like Sebastian Stan being a cannibal or something? Whatever. Cannibal films, believe it or not. Though I wouldn't call it really horror. I'm going to talk about it anyway. Bones and All was Timothée Chalamet. Again, I don't know what is it with Timothée Chalamet that makes me want to punch him in the face. I don't get it. But yeah, Bones and All tells the story of two young cannibals, though they don't use the word cannibal, they use the word eater. One of them portrayed by Timothée Chalamet. The other one is portrayed by, this one I'm actually going to have to look up her name because I actually I wouldn't say I liked that movie, but it was a weird movie. It was pretty weird. So it was Timothée Chalamet and Taylor Russell. Yeah, Mark Rylance is in this film as well. Chloe Sevigny, Michael Stonberg. Yeah. There are only certain elements that make it horror because it's just scenes you just don't see coming. It's not really jump scare per se. It's just more like you see it happening and it's still kind of scaring you a bit. Bones and All was not a bad movie. It's just kind of freaky and weird. And like, it's not like I would say don't eat food while watching this film. I actually am lying. Don't eat food while watching this film. Actually, don't eat food before watching this film. And actually, don't eat food after watching this film. All right. And I did all three. I came out fine though. But I know most probably might not be able to. So if you have a very, very, very weak stomach, do not eat food before, after, and during the film. Great performances, great music by Nine Inch Nails. Little side note, Nine Inch Nails did the music for Soul, the Disney movie Soul. How do you explain that? I don't know. Yeah, again, great acting, especially from Mark Rylance. Mark Rylance does a great performance. Not going to be recognized by this movie will not be recognized by the Academy. It just infuriates me. I think it's do I think it's weird? Yes. Do I think it's artfully, I guess artfully is a word. Do I think it's crafted well? That's a good word. Do I think it's crafted well? Definitely. All right. That's pretty much all I gotta say because it's a freaky movie. So you're never really gonna have a I hate it or I like it. It's just more like you're just gonna have a weird feeling when you watch this film. Bones and All, I don't know. If you really want to know why they call it Bones and All, it's because like if a cannibal eats everything, including the bones, which I don't get. Like if you eat bones, wouldn't that hurt coming out the other end? Yeah, I think did I miss? Did I get them? Well, as much as I could. Again, Barbarian, Black Phone. Still gonna call the girl out on that one. Scream. Yeah, don't hate me because I didn't watch Scream. Pearl. I might actually get a chance to watch Scream. I might not put that on my what I missed. I'll more put that when the next Scream comes out. That way I can actually do a full podcast on Scream. Hellraiser. I actually don't think I'm gonna watch that, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. Werewolf by Night. I'll just do that in another episode. The Menu. Why didn't I see that one? I think that's as much as I could. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I've heard of that one. I haven't seen that. Terrifier 2. I have not seen Terrifier 1. I actually don't. I kind of don't really want to watch that one, just because I don't know. There's just something I hear about the Terrifier films that are like you kind of don't want to. I don't know. I don't think I can watch the Terrifiers, but yeah, I think that's as much as horror as I can get. I know there was a Grinch horror film. Not watching that. Yeah, that's. I think that's all I can get from horror. I might just have to do what I missed on horror previously. Do another podcast to season 2, I believe. Probably one of the early episodes because I got season 2 ready. I got a few episodes ready, already lined up for the second season. Okay, here's one: the Texas Chainsaw Massacre requel. That's what I knew. I was missing one. Okay, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the requel, is a direct sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They're always making direct sequels to horror films, and it's just messing me up so bad. This one is like, there's supposed to be a reunion between, or not a reunion. So they recasted Harley, I forgot, sorry. They recasted Sally Hardenstein, the final girl from the first film, because Marilyn Burns, who plays Sally in the original one, passed away in 2014, I believe. And Gunnar Hansen, who played Leatherface in the original, passed away in 2015. So, of course, they recasted both actors. Well, they always recast Leatherface in many films. But they recasted Sally. There was, Leatherface and Sally meet each other face-to-face after 50 years. Doesn't mean anything, like, at all. Doesn't. One, they're trying to do it. They're trying to copy off of Halloween. And two, it's two different actors. They're not the same actors. It's just meaningless. And 3, the party bus scene, I cannot get behind. That's just stupid. Well, everyone's pretty much making stupid decisions. Well, this is a slasher film. People are going to make stupid decisions, except for X. Nobody really makes like a stupid decision. Well, okay, maybe one person did, but that's just to keep that's how it always is. Somebody has to do something stupid to keep the movie going. Yeah, pretty much for sure that is all horror I can get into. So I guess I can do one last segment and then I'll be done for the year, or for the rest of the season. So stick around. All right, welcome back to Gilbert. It's all about the media podcast. Guess I could just talk about any more stuff I could talk about. Two shows ended this year, though I know there are a bunch of other shows that probably ended this year. Two of them are shows that I watch, and they were both on AMC: Better Call Saul and The Walking Dead. Better Call Saul, I love the finale. Did it top Breaking Bad's finale? No, I don't think any show can top Breaking Bad's finale. Breaking Bad had the one good finale than any other show has ever done. Like if you watch, Lost, Game of Thrones, Sopranos, yeah, no, don't even. Well, okay, so as far as I can tell you, Legends of Tomorrow and Batgirl were shows that I watched, and they ended this year. They were canceled, so it doesn't count. Doesn't count because they had to have a complete ending. But actually, I missed Peaky Blinders' final season. Wow, I forgot about that. I really gotta get into it. I love Peaky Blinders. Yeah, I guess we could just go on to. Let's just continue with Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul, this final season was like, you just didn't expect anything at all. Like, Howard, one of the characters, gets killed off. After, Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler just pulled this whole elaborate ruse just to, I forgot, I think get Howard fired, I believe. And then next thing you know, Lalo, who survived the previous season of a shootout, sneaks into their house, shoots Howard in cold blood, and then he tries to kill Giancarlo. And then the saddest part is that they make Howard's suicide they stage Howard's suicide, had his body buried next to Lalo. Lalo Salamanca gets murdered by Gus Fring. I said Giancarlo, but by Gus Fring. Yeah, pretty much. You pretty much see, ever since the show began, I really wonder what was Kim Wexler going to have going forward. And it gave, well, first of all, I'm glad they didn't kill her off. Second of all, I predicted that she probably would not handle Jimmy McGill's, or in this case, Saul Goodman's, lifestyle or what he does to get clients, yada, yada, yada. We do get what happens to Saul, after the events of Breaking Bad. Now, this normally happens throughout the show where we see Saul Goodman's life or Jimmy McGill's life after the events of Breaking Bad. But then you see him more getting back to his old ways. And I love the whole black and white aspects. I really do. Of course, I wasn't surprised that they were bringing back, Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul as, the one and only Walt and Jesse. We saw it coming. Everyone knew it was happening. It was no surprise. I was just surprised at how early on was in the season that they were gonna reintroduce them. Bryan Cranston, the show's been gone for nearly 8 years? And Bryan Cranston still looks the same. Yeah, the dude's 66? He's 66. That is about, 14 years, actually 16 years older than how his character should be. Whatever, I don't care. The show was awesome. Finale was good. Oh, actually, I wouldn't say it was good. It was decent enough for me. It didn't let me down, I'll tell you that, unlike one certain horror film. I think it's, I don't know if they'll ever continue the whole, Breaking Bad universe, because I think there's so much little they can do with that material. You know what I mean? I don't think there's much you can do with, because there's really no other character you can, you could probably do, only miniseries, only either a miniseries of, Mike in his younger days when he was a cop, or Gus when his start to becoming just, a Chilean, what was he, poor? I don't remember. If it was like a poor Chilean to becoming, this businessman who runs a drug empire, I would love to see that. But, even if then, they should just leave it how it is, was I iffy when, they were going to do that, and as well as when they were going to bring up El Camino, which is they call it a TV film. I don't think it was a TV film. I think they called it a TV film because it's it's part of the Breaking Bad universe. But was I iffy when El Camino and, Better Call Saul was about to come out? Yes, but, didn't disappoint me either or. I loved El Camino. I loved Better Call Saul. I think, I enjoyed the series. now I could binge watch it all over again, but I better take my time because when I binge watch and there's like a lot of time left in my life. But now, The Walking Dead, its 11th season. It actually lasted, I think, 13 years or 11 years. 12 years actually, because I think it started in 2010 and it took a long break because of the pandemic. Yeah, so The Walking Dead had just ended its final season. I never thought this show was ever gonna end, but it was about the community, this one community trying to take over, Alexandria, the hilltop, the kingdom, all that. And it's a prime example of dictatorship. And again, it's not even enforcing politics. Again, like what I hate is what I always hate, dictatorship. Or not dictatorship, people enforcing politics. But it gives a prime example of what dictatorship can do, what unforgiveness can do, The finale, was I 100% impressed? Nah, probably like 70%. But it ended how it ended. I'm just going to leave it at that. Was I surprised Rick and Michonne showed up at the last episode? Again, no. Everyone predicted that was going to happen, If they not showed up, now that's a surprise, It does show, like, it kind of leads up to supposedly, like, a new series about Rick and Michonne. So here's the thing. The show ended, but these characters are going to get their own series, which, again, is kind of pointless and stupid. But we are going to get Rick and Michonne series later on in 23. I don't know how far into the year, but it's supposed to be like what happened to Rick after the events of mid-season 9, I believe. If you remember, Michonne found all this stuff on a boat that had like Rick stuff. That was actually Rick stuff, I'm sorry. She found a bunch of Rick stuff on a boat. She knew he had to still be alive, which he was. And then you see him running away from a helicopter. I don't remember. I think her name was Pam, who took in Rick after the bridge exploded. And you're going to get that. You're going to get a Daryl Dixon show. Do I want that show? Maybe. There's supposed to be like a Negan and Maggie show. That I'm actually interested in because if you remember, Negan killed Glenn. I'm no longer butthurt about that, as I'm pretty sure a lot of people are still. But Negan killed Glenn, Maggie's husband. She's been trying to kill him since then. Yeah, that happened. I just want to see how it goes. But in the finale, she said she could never forgive him, which, I figured she would say that because she looked like she would never forgive him because, so in a humanistic aspect, you really can't forgive someone who took, a family member away from you. In a religious and spiritual aspect, it's difficult to, but you kind of want to, in a sense, But The Walking Dead didn't really have that, even though, yeah, you have Father Gabriel. Rosita dies, sadly, because she got bit trying to protect her daughter. Man, it's so weird because the actress who played Rosita played a Suki Crabgrass, I think that's the name. It's from, man, what was it? Nesty Classified. I don't know if y'all remember that show or not. But the character Ned, he had a crush, later turned a girlfriend, and that's played by the same actress. Hold on, let me get this. I think I had it. By the way, I think I want to rewatch Nesty Classified because I love that show. Dang, I'm pulling it up and they're not giving me the answer very well. Oh, come on, y'all. Dude, what the hell? Susie Crabgrass. That's the name, Susie Crabgrass. Yeah, Susie Crabgrass, portrayed by Christian Serratos. I guess, yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as I can tell, the finale, again, didn't disappoint me, but it wasn't as epic as I predicted that it would be. But I can live with it. Did I want the main villain of this season to die? Yes. Governor Horton, I think that was her name was, or whatever her name was. Yeah, I kind of didn't care for it. Did I want her to die? Yes, but she didn't. Whatever. At least some of the other characters didn't die, like Father Gabriel, Eugene, King Ezekiel. Yeah, none of them die. I'm happy they didn't die. I'm glad Carol didn't die. Well, okay, so Carol and Daryl were not supposed to die because of the show that was set to have them in. So so I was like, yeah, they're not gonna die. Judith, who is Rick's son, I mean, not Rick's son, Rick's daughter. I thought she was gonna die. Nope, she's still alive. She just took a very bad gun to the belly. Yeah, I mean, I love the show. I love, like, in all honesty, I don't think they should have continued making different, shows with these different characters, but money talks. But also, you guys gotta realize, and it's no surprise, their ratings have been going downhill since the third season. So I don't know if this was a rating thing or not, but I don't think they're gonna get there. Well, I guess I'm not gonna end it from here, but I will talk about other stuff. Avatar. I saw Avatar: The Way of Water. Man, that movie is long. It's a 3 hour. So if you have 3 hours of your life to cut, you should watch it. I mean, that's only if you were okay with the first Avatar. James Cameron made the argument, though. He says, like, y'all can y'all can binge watch 5 1 hour episodes of a show and you can't even watch a 3 hour film. Yeah, that's different. You know why? Because when we're binge watching a show, we can pause the movie or the show, whatever. We can pause the show to get up, go to the restroom. You really can't do that with a 3 hour film. I didn't order food at the theater because I knew that my bladder was probably not going to hold. But it's interesting how James Cameron made this film, because like you just wonder how they did this whole water scenes and then how much you think could be green screen. Because believe it or not all of it is green screen, and even then, it's not even like an outdated green screen. It's been a while since I saw the first Avatar, so I don't remember too much of it being fake or not. I don't know. None of it really looked that fake. So the special effects didn't look fake. Some animated movies. Marcel the Shell. You guys gotta watch that film, all right? Marcel the Shell is an amazing film. It's like an animated documentary, even though like it's not on. Think of it like a Osmosis Jones almost. Think of it like that, where it's like there's animation and then it's like real, like non-animation, real life. There's that. So it is a sad film. It gets sad, spoiler alert, but yeah, you can actually live with it. Now I guess I can talk about, to me, it's not even to me, everyone agrees with me on this. And this is the film. Hold on, I'm debating on something. I've seen a lot of movies this year, I'm sorry. So, I'm thinking, because unfortunately, Top Gun Maverick, I haven't seen yet, so don't hate me. I saw Turning Red. I don't think I'm going to talk about it. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Turning Red. Even though I've seen it. I haven't seen Wednesday. I haven't seen that one. So, again, don't hate me on that. Now, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to talk about the best film that came out in 2022. And if you hate it, you are wrong. You're an idiot. There is something wrong with you. This was the best film ever. You know how I talked about the multiverse and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? This movie puts Doctor Strange to shame. And that's saying a lot, to be honest with you. Actually, it's not even saying a lot. It's just not saying much. This film handled the multiverse better than Doctor Strange. And that is, of course, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Oh, good. I could finally get that off my chest. That is the best film, I think, in the last 10 years. Maybe not in the last 10 years, but I think it's one of the better films. It's original. It has the best cast. It's directed well. And again, there really is no real political agenda, but it does handle themes of like nihilism, and like people are like, oh, good, it's an Asian cast, like it could. So it's an Asian cast or an Asian main star, Michelle Yeoh. I don't care. It's Michelle Yeoh. I don't care if it's Asian, Mexican, black, white, whatever. All right, I don't care. As long as they're acting good, I don't care who it is. But most people are gonna get that in a different sense. But the cast was brilliant. Hee Kai Hwan, I think that's what his name is. And I think I butchered the name, so forgive me. I just realized I didn't even see Elvis. Again, don't hate me. Yeah, Ki Hai Kwan. Hopefully I'm not sounding Asian. And Stephanie Hsu, Jamie Lee Curtis, James Hong, Jenny Slate, Dude, these movies are, dude, the cast is amazing. It's an amazing cast. Michelle Yeoh, the best in her career. Apparently, that was supposed to be for Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan didn't want to do it. They wrote it as a woman. Michelle Yeoh and Jackie Chan. I want to see. Have there ever been a movie with them? I think there has been. I have never seen her in an American film because this is actually an American film. But she has done a lot of lead acting in Hong Kong movies because this is her. I don't know if this is her first lead in an American film, but she has acted in American films before that have again a predominantly Asian cast, Crazy Rich Asians, and what was it? Shang-Chi? Yeah, Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi? Whatever. I don't remember Shang-Chi. If it was Shang-Chi. Yeah, Shang-Chi. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, and people, I don't know. If you're what is it? If you're a PC, if I'm saying Asian, go screw off, okay? I'm saying it. But Michelle Yeoh does the best performance I've ever seen this year. Actually, from the award circuit, I think it's the only one because there's a lot of movies I haven't seen this year due to a lot of reasons, like The Fabelmans. I haven't seen that one yet. Elvis. A lot of the films I haven't seen, I'll cover it, but also because of the award season happening, as soon as we hit Oscar 2023, I will definitely talk about them for sure. But either way, Everything Everywhere All at Once shows more multiverse in the multiverse of madness. Even if some of them are glimpses, it's better than just having someone just splashing through the multiverse. Because it does talk about like how one thing can create something else, Like this character, if she had chosen one route or this route or this route or this route, her life would have been a little bit different. Like if she chose not to go and elope with her husband and move to America, she would be like a Jackie Chan figure, like a martial arts star and film star, a martial arts film star, kind of like the Asian shoot myself in the head on that one. Like a female Bruce Lee or female Jackie Chan, or she chose to. There's a universe where people have hot dogs for fingers. You'd think that's dumb, but it's actually pretty funny. People do a lot of weird stuff to, I guess, get the knowledge of people of their lives from a different universe. By the way, I kind of like this one. I don't like how Doctor Strange said, like, oh, if you're dreaming, that's you in a different... No, okay, I don't buy that. What they did was better, okay? And I'm going to say that, and I'm pretty sure people talked about this when they saw Doctor Strange. If you're going to make a movie in the future about the multiverse, chances are people are going to compare it to Everything Everywhere All at Once, all right? I'm pretty sure Doctor Strange, 100% I know, got compared to Everything Everywhere All at Once because I just did that right now. I know a lot of people have. The difference is because Everything Everywhere All at Once came out before Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange didn't have like a good script. It wasn't directed well. Again, I love Sam Raimi. I forgot his name, sorry. I love Sam Raimi. I just didn't like how he 100% handled the film. The Daniels, that's literally what they're called, their directing partner, they directed the hell out of that film. They wrote an awesome script. It talks about nihilism, where it's like, you feel like no matter where you live, how you live, it's meaningless. They handle the topic well. I just love it. It's an amazing film. Ki Hai Kwan, again, if you don't know who Ki Hai Kwan is, that's the only time I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Sort of. Because I know there are people who haven't seen the top 2 movies that came out. And the reason being, probably none of y'all heard of him, is because he used to be a child actor. He only really acted as a child. He came out in The Goonies and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. He played Short Round in the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And he played Data, I think that's what his name is. Yeah, Data in The Goonies. By the way, if you haven't seen either or, should I give you the benefit of the doubt if you haven't seen either or? I don't know. Like, I want to say Man, shoot. You know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, all right? If you haven't seen The Temple of Doom or The Goonies, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But they are amazing films, all right? The 80s gave out a lot of good films, a lot of good adventure films, a lot of good box office films. He retired from acting for a little bit and then he eventually came back for this role. That's what a lot of actors tend to do. He's getting a lot of love and he deserves that love, all right? Oh, yeah, that's a lot to talk about. And like I said, I didn't cover everything just because, like, again, I didn't really have time to watch everything. So if I ever do an episode where it's like things I missed in 2022, it's most likely going to happen because, yeah, and I do have time. I have a lot of time. But either or, that's pretty much it. Thank you for sticking by the first season. You know, I didn't get to plan well on this entire season. But second season, definitely, guys, I'm coming back. Things are getting better. I got a lot more topics to talk about. I'll be seeing you guys in March, pretty much when I'm planning on coming back. You guys have a fantastic New Year's, man. Hope everything goes well for you in 2023. Oh, before I sign off, I almost forgot, man. I just want to give a big shout out to the many, many folks that we have lost in this past year. Jason David Frank, Kevin Conroy, Bob Saget, Kirstie Alley. I'm recording this today. Soccer star Pelé. Okay, you know what? I'm going to say it. Footballer Pelé died. Brazil's best soccer player. Loretta Lynn. May you rest in peace. Sidney Poitier. Queen Elizabeth. Who else? Meatloaf. Wow. I forgot about Meatloaf. Ray Liotta. May you also rest in peace. Twitch. Of course, man. Twitch. Takeoff. Of course, Takeoff. Angela Lansbury. Olivia Newton-John. Robbie Coltrane. Hagrid. Of course, man. There's just so many people. Leslie Jordan, of course. Fred Ward. Coolio. Man, Coolio. So many people that I wish I could say all, but yeah, man, we lost a lot of good folks this year. Yeah, just RIP to all of them. Whoever I didn't say, RIP. To everyone I did say again, RIP. This is me signing off, y'all. Happy New Year, or whatever time you'll be listening to this. Thank you all for sticking with me for the first season. I never thought I'd be doing this. You know, I don't know if I'm ever going to stop, but I'll definitely be back in March. Definitely 100%. I'll be back in March with new topics, stuff to talk about. And of course, I will do the things I missed in 2022. Other than that, thank you all so much. Thank you. Signing off. This is Gilbert, All About the Media Podcast Season 1 finale, and it's ending right now.